How old is this knife?
Several years. Probably,
This one is
probably 20 years.
For those of you
this
that are
one is
listening,
older than me, probably. Like, well, maybe not quite, but this Army Navy surplus. There are certain things that last longer. I've got shelves of things in my garage that are tools that are older than me, older than my dad. They were my grandfather's things. And I've got stuff that I wish I could have gotten from my mother or my wife's grandparents. When they passed away, they left it with her aunt. When her aunt passed away, she gave it to her brother, and he didn't know what to do with it. And so he went and sold it all.
no,
And I'm over here like ripping hair out. I'm like, no, I'll buy him. And he sold us some jackwagon online. And I'm like, I need those. They're hand tools, chisels. There's hand saws. There's hand drills. Like there were so many good, like really good tools. And my dad has some of those. And I'm like, Dad, if I ever need them when the grid goes down, like I'm coming to your house and borrowing tools. Like he's got tools that are like 80, 100, 150 years old that last. And he was a contractor. So he's got power tools also that they're corded, but they use less power and they're stronger than the stuff you buy now. Like he's got a Hitachi saw that is super old. He's got a whole bunch of different products that are Milwaukee, and those things don't break, and he maintains them. So take care of the things you have, maintain the things you have. And if you can't afford the new one, that's probably better. Go look at what else is out there on the market. Look at the Facebook marketplaces. Look at, here in Utah, ksl.com. Look at the classifieds online, find something in your local community and get the used stuff. Like in the group on our Facebook page and also on TikTok, people are talking about, oh man, I go get all that stuff all summer long. You can get it for like 5 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents. It's all at garage sales. All the stuff you need as far as tools, as far as books, like you can find them at garage sales because people are clearing that stuff out all the time. Whenever there's an estate sale and they do a garage sale, oh my gosh, that is like the cornucopia of prepping stuff. You're going to find a ton of good stuff. And it might be stuff that's an asset class that you can turn around and sell for more money than you picked it for. So then you can take that money and go buy food storage and go buy water totes and go buy other stuff.
Yeah, I found a little gem in my parents passed away this last year, and I found a little gem in my dad's tools. It was an axe head. It was stamped Sweden on the axe head. Swedish steel. That's some of the best steel for axes. And I took that axe head, I put a new handle on it, and it's I would say it's probably 50, 60 years old. It's like it's brand new. I mean, sharpened it up. And so you're absolutely right, Scott, is these old tools. And you kind of have to know what you're looking for, right? Because there could be some Harbor Freight tools out there, right? Even though the side of the building says quality tools, best price. Like, okay, if you're comparing quality to price, okay, maybe you could use that word quality, right? But don't tell me they're quality at Harbor Freight because they're not the quality that Scott's talking about, right?
Yeah.
So you do have to have a little bit of practice to know what tools look for, what kind of steel look for, what kind of knife to look for. That takes some knowledge, and feel free to ask us because as you can tell, I'm happy to regurgitate my knowledge, information on tools and knives. And so we say, hey, what knife should I get? What steel should I get? Because you can go overboard and you can go too cheap too. So there is a happy medium on a lot of things.
And we're going to have resources like that eventually as we get going here, where we already have some resources on our resource page and different links to where we would go to buy food storage if we bought food storage, where we would go to get the books that we would read to be prepared. So we have links on our website, links in our Facebook group. We're going to have links everywhere else on our email list for sure. And so for sure on our website, all those resources. If you want to know what knife we would buy, we're probably going to have a link eventually that will give you the chance to click the link and go straight into Amazon or wherever and buy that knife. And then that helps support the channel, helps keep us going, helps keep the goal of getting people better prepared and gets the word out for what we can able to do to give us more resources to do that. And so just a quick commercial on that for the website, for the Facebook group, and for the links that we have available for the different places that you can go buy food storage and other things for us. And In the beginning of the show, we did promise we would talk a little bit about the difference between being awake and being woke. And I had a quote that come to mind this week as I was preparing myself for that topic of being the difference between awake and being woke. And so it comes from John Adams. It says, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other." And to me, being awake to what's really going on, what the truth is no better embodied than we see in our founding fathers and what they did and what they created in this whole constitutional republic, this democratic republic that we have, that they created, not a democracy like Shane shared last week. And I'm sure you'll talk more about it, but I tell you that if we really truly embrace the founding fathers and the principles of what they're saying here, a moral and religious people, that's what the whole design of this country was. We came here with an "in God do we trust" mentality. We came here for religious freedoms. We came here to be able to worship God in a way, how, where, or what we may. And we came here for those freedoms and those liberties. And that's being really attacked. It's serious. It's like a war, honestly, with the woke crowd having a war against these moral and religious principles and these principles of liberty and freedom. And it's this idea of the hive mind and the community. Shane, you shared this, and I'm going to turn it over here in a minute, but you shared that the attack on the individual is something that we really need to be aware of. And I was like, man, that is legit. That is right now we have, don't do anything unless it benefits everyone. Well, where in the heck is that in the Constitution? Where in the heck was that in the founding fathers?
Exactly.
That's one of the problems with our schools today. They're teaching kids to be robots. And we're going to have we're going to have some people, I'm negotiating right now with some people to come on who are experts in things like CRT and SEL and some of the things that are going on in our schools with the schools, parent teachers and the school board meetings. And so we're going that direction. If anybody has any comments or questions or concerns about that, put them in Facebook group or send us an email or message, and we'll make sure we get that kind of stuff as well. But I just know that we need to be awake, not woke.
Yeah, I was going to say, Parrish, the opposite to your example there of the Constitution, as in the woke crowd, are those who believe the Constitution is a living, breathing document, right? That, it can be interpreted. It's not in a foreign language. It's in English. It doesn't need to be interpreted, right? It's right there. Read it as it is, and it's easy to understand, just like Second Amendment. Shall not be infringed. What is there not to understand about that? So that's I think the opposite of being awake and being woke when it comes to the Constitution, as an example.
Woke is to me is a distraction. The entire woke movement is a distraction from reality, and it keeps people in this paralysis of having to try to constantly debate, argue opinions or a stance, and it never gives them a chance to think critically. It never gives them a chance to take personal responsibility on how actions, words, and behavior impacts society and others, because they're so focused on how they're hurt and how everyone else who had nothing to do with it hurt them. And I'm really like broadening this out as and oversimplifying this as much as I can. But awake means, in my purview, awake means I'm aware of what's going on. I see a need from a standpoint of I am a son of God. I am a child of God. And everyone that's listening to this, I believe wholeheartedly you are a child of God. You are my brothers. You are my sisters. You are my cousins. You are my family. I don't want to lose anyone in my family in a disaster. And the disaster that's coming is a disaster of brother versus brother. It's worse than it's going to be worse than the Civil War, in brother versus brother, sister versus sister. And a lot of you listening right now, you probably have family that you guys are fighting over these same topics. And you've got family that doesn't understand when you say, hey, we need to get better prepared. Let's buy a little more of this. And they're like, what? You're crazy.
That'll never happen.
Right? But awake is listening to God, reading your scriptures, paying attention to the real needs of the world. You know, you said the Constitution is not a living and breathing document. Well, to me, it is. And I'll explain why I say that. It is not to be interpreted because it speaks for itself. It is not to be changed because when you do that, you're defiling a living being, right? If we're going to use that type of interpretation, you know, you don't cut off the arm because it offended you. You don't cut off your face and throw it aside because you don't like the way you look. When you do that, you destroy that. You destroy the thing that is most beautiful, which is the person, right? We were founded as a republic if we could keep it.
Mm-hmm.
If we could keep it. Now, in addition to that, there are some of us who are fighting to keep it. And many of you who are listening are fighting to keep it. And that's why we've resonated so well with each other, because we want that. And those are the people, you are the people that are going to be able to rebuild society, because you're going to withstand what's coming. You're creating an anti-fragility in your life, a resilience, if you will, by getting better prepared. Even if you don't have everything figured out, you're willing to work with other people. That's awake. You're willing to serve, to help, to listen, to discuss, to debate. And if you don't believe me or agree with me, that does not change how I perceive or view or appreciate or love you. That's awake. Woke means you have no value if you disagree with me.
Yep.
It means you lean
And
to
that's why
your
we need
own
to be-
understanding. It's woke is, and I don't know how to properly express this, but it's kind of what we were talking about a little bit last. I was alluding to the end of the program last week, is that it's a society thing. It's a culture thing, right? It's putting our trust in someone other than God. It's putting it in our professors, our teachers, the authorities, the people who wear the white jackets. Those are the people who are woke, if you ask me.
That's true.
And you're creating idols.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You're creating idols who you then worship.
Yeah.
And how do they worship? They worship by getting distracted in the minutia of what they're saying and getting confused and confounded and becoming social justice warriors. And they stop contributing to a society. They stop contributing to the betterment for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
They destroy instead of build. And what we need now is we need builders. We need builders who are going to build back the values and core principles and beliefs of God, family, and country, God, family, and community, God, family, and responsibility, personal responsibility. That's why prepping is so revitalized right now. People are flocking to prepping because they're worried about what's coming, but like me, like you, we've been focused on not just the big things, but the little things along the way. You know what I'm most prepared for right now? Loss of income. My next most prepared issue, disability. My next most prepared thing, I don't know. I don't know how to categorize what I'm next most prepared. Probably cyber attack. Then I start getting into the bigger things. Am I prepared for a complete grid down scenario? No.
Right.
That whether you've been doing this for a day, a month, a year, 50 years, everybody in this journey wishes they were a little more prepared than they already are, or a lot more prepared.
Mm-hmm. And
I've been doing this for so long. I've spent so much money on things that I thought were goodbye. And then as I've experienced it, I'm like, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to. That didn't make as much sense. I don't need that.
Mm-hmm. And you just replace it and find something new or better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
So
eliminate
many
it, because it's
so many times.
Yeah.
I just did a quick search while we were here in the scriptures. I went to BibleHub.com and did a search for the word awake. It says here 109 verses found. I mean, if the Bible is telling you to wake up, to me, that's God telling you to wake up. And if God's telling you to wake up and you're not listening, there's nothing the three of us are going to do. So and hopefully we can help once you do wake up, get you, situated. But that's all we're here to do in this podcast, is to help situate. We heard the call. We got the call from God that it was time to wake up and look around and take responsibility for yourself, not hope for other, not trust in the arm of flesh. And it was time to wake up and look